Hi, I'm Dr. Bob, and welcome back to the Better Brain Academy. Like we said initially, we're going to have this bigger effect. We're going to have lots of global information. We're going to start to pare this down and connect the dots for you, so you have a better idea of how to create a better brain in the future. Thank you for the questions that you've had so far on our Better Brain Academy Facebook page. So far, we've seen people that have given up soda, really looked at their labels to get rid of the hydrogenated oils that are your trans fats. A lot of you are drinking more water. You didn't even realize how bad your water intake was, and you're having a little bit more clarity of thinking. Several are actually reducing the time in between your meals and eating earlier in the day so that your body is not storing things as fat. So we talked about in the first video your omega-3 index. That means what is the percentage of the omega-3 fatty acids in your cell wall. That is so important because that allows the fluidity and flexibility of the cell wall so things can come into the cell and the toxins can be eliminated. Better blood sugar, better oxygen, better water and hydration of the cells, minerals, vitamins, all these things need to get into the cell. If they're circulating inside the body, your sugar is up, your body releases more insulin, and that's a very noxious inflammatory problem that develops if the cell wall is not healthy. So we're talking about getting healthier at a cellular level. We also talked about the ratio of the omega-3, your fatty acids, your DHA, and your EPA. Those are important in your fatty acids. Some of you have asked questions about, what about flaxseed oil? Well, the flaxseed oil, the alpha-linoleic acid, which is what happens is that turns into, through a step process, into your DHA or EPA. But it's only, with research, about 5 to 15% really accurate or efficient. So that means that you got to go through a lot more steps to get your flaxseed oil to your omega-3 fatty acids. So it's actually better. I know some of you are vegan or vegetarian, but it's really much better to get them, the fatty acids, especially if there was a problem with the ratio and the index, to get it from your fish oils. Sometimes you can get it from algae. The fish eat the algae, but the fish actually convert this into the DHA and EPA before we ingest it, which is much effective on our own body. So today we're going to talk about cell toxicity. Some of your reports show that what's called palmitic acid or trans fat on your scores. If you've had a newer one, it'll say cell toxicity index. So what that means is that the amount of sugars and fats that you're getting in your diet, and how is that affecting the cell itself. If you're eating too many sugars, we call them the 3 W's, your white flour, your white sugar, and your white rice. Those are processed, and they've taken all the natural minerals and all the other things out of it, and it's really eating like pure sugar. So you want to look at getting rid of the whites and reducing those so that you do not increase palmitic acid in the body. Palmitic acid becomes more of a toxic fat. The sugar turns to fat, goes to our belly, our yellow fat. It actually forms problems with our arteries, so it lays down inflammatory problems, and then our body tries to put cholesterol that we make in the body as kind of like a patch, trying to protect it. The challenge, if you take cholesterol-lowering medication and you keep eating high sugars, then you've got a bigger problem because you're laying more fat down, you're lowering your blood cholesterol, but you're actually producing more toxic fat in the body. So I'm not a big fan of taking a cholesterol-lowering medication, especially if you're continuing to eat food that is not healthy for you. So you got to reduce your sugars. If you're looking at your Better Brain eating log, this is the week that you look at what is the one thing over the next 21 days that you're going to eliminate from your diet. It could be in the sugar category, should be in the fats, could be the timing. Something that you're eating, you got to look at the quality of the foods. Maybe they're eating too many foods that are non-organic, add more of those. In future videos, I'm going to be going more into how important it is to look at non-genetically modified foods and how that affects your overall health and toxicity. But today is really about looking at that number and that index. Was there some cell toxicity? Were your trans fats high? That means you're eating too many processed foods and oils or fried foods. Were your palmitic acid numbers too high? That means you're taking sugar and creating more fat within the body. So it's in your blood, it's affecting the sugar, so that's going to increase the chance of having systemic problems in the future. One way to help reduce your palmitic acid and your trans fats and your cell toxicity is to really eat the things we know we should be eating, our cruciferous vegetables. So you get fiber with that. The trans fats bind to the fiber and help eliminate it through your digestive tract. They also produce a thing called glutathione. So the cells become healthier, more oxygenated. I'll be talking more about that process and how you can increase your glutathione, but cruciferous vegetables is one of the best ways that you can start to reduce your trans fats and increase the ability to eliminate toxins in the body. Sometimes if you have reduced your sugar and you've reduced these, you're making these changes, your body may be deficient in certain minerals or certain nutrients. I'm going to be going more in depth into vitamins on an individual basis. Chromium is something that binds with sugar and the insulin molecule and can help regulate your blood sugar. So chromium picolinate can be actually added. You always want to talk to your doctor before you add any type of nutrients. The other thing is coenzyme Q10. Coenzyme Q10 is a carrier molecule in what's called the Krebs cycle. I don't want to get too technical with you, but that means taking your food and turning it into energy rather than storing it as fat. So the oxygen uptake and the production of a thing called ATP, which is your stored energy, can be enhanced with taking coenzyme Q10. It's good for your brain, it's good for your heart. The challenge if you have these palmitic acid raising and your trans fat raising, it's starting to affect a certain part of your brain called the Perforin Pathway. That pathway is part of your brain called the hippocampus, which is your short-term memory. Now the challenge with that is if you do this over a period of time, think of it like clogging the filter. As we get older, we wonder why we walked into a room, can't find our keys. It starts to get more and more involved. As we get older, we start to see some of those things, but if you have some of that, you got to really look at your blood sugar. You got to look at your palmitic acid, how that's converting to it, and because it's starting to affect this perforant pathway for your short-term memory. Next week, we're going to be talking more about our sustained attention, our memory, and our processing speed of the brain, and how our nutrition ties in with that, and also things we should be doing to increase our overall brain health. So we're taking step by step through the brain span testing so you can look at it at a deeper level and maybe get reintroduced. There's a lot of information there, but take one step at a time. So this week is take the one thing out of your nutrition, out of your diet, that you know is not healthy for you. Do it for 21 days and you'll create a new habit. So make sure that you look at your test. Make sure that you're keeping track on your Better Brain eating log. If you've slacked off on that, just jump right back in and do it, and you'll see where you need to make some changes. And I'll guide you through this to get some leverage on you to make some good, healthy changes for your brain in the future. Look forward to this continued training. We'll talk to you soon.